Hi and welcome back to TBF. As always, this is your guides, tips, tricks, techniques, and strategies to play this game and go and beyond. If you happen to be a senior player, have some popcorn, have a cold beverage, sit down and relax, and put some comments down below to help the small players to grow. And if you happen to be a small player, medium player, or just new to this channel, welcome by the way, and you can journey with us as we journey this together. Let's get straight into it. Today I actually want to talk about Suva Hunters. Now I have spoken about this topic before on some previous videos, but this one is the more deep dive in a little bit more into how it works, operates, what you should be using, and more in depth than our previous videos. Now we look into one of our accounts and moving straight into it, going into the main city. It's always important to remember that your setup of your troops are extremely important. It always comes down to what you're using, how efficient you're going to play, how you're going to target players. All this will be shown today, but first step is first, let's go straight into our captains and hero selection. Suva hunting, you can't just use any heroes. There is actually only one particular hero that you need to use because in this case, most of the time when you're Suva hunting, you're hunting Suva over other kingdoms. So in this case, your hero actually should be our hero Erin. And for those who are new, the reason why Erin has to be the hero of choice here because of her findability. As you can see here, she's marches are not time limited and you can send marches to other kingdoms. She's the only hero that can do this. And when you are to the point where you are starting to hunt for Suva when your kingdom dome collapses after 3 months, this is something that you see a lot of people doing, and that's why you're always attacked by Erin. However, yes, you can also be attacked during KVK because KVK portals allow you to do that as well, to send portals and attack in other kingdoms. KVK portals are earned by purchasing them. I don't really know any other way that's achieved by earning them. Because KVK, even when you compete in KVK, you don't actually earn KVK portals. That's not something that's provided. They're a special type of portal. So if you can see over here, guys, you have your regular portals, of course, which you can only use them and summon them in your own kingdom. But KVK portals have a very slight little small change. You can see there's actually a little symbol here that actually represents to another kingdom and to be able to use it during KVK only. So if you read down below, it opens a portal to a selected location in another kingdom that allows your army to travel there instantly. Now for those who have participated in KVK and if those who are new, I want you to understand that KVK portals are also sort of special as well. We know that you can only use this during the KVK tournament, but what's really cool about using portals during this particular tournament is that you can actually march in with not just your own army, but you can actually allow other troops to join you if you're doing group marches in those other kingdoms. And this does happen a lot. Because KVK, there's almost no rules in there except for the agreement that you have under your international agreement, and that's something that a lot of kingdoms will gain eventually when your bubble pops. For those who are new, that basically means there's a standard rule that you all follow, like not hitting smaller players, not hitting certain capitals and cities. This is just something as a general agreement that's assigned for every single kingdom. Not everyone follows it, unfortunately, so you do find kingdoms that do break that very rule as well, but that's just generally how the game works. It really comes down to it. But what you do find, there is a united front when this happens, and you do find a lot of support when that does happen. KVK portals, like I said, is something that you do have to purchase. So if you go to your packages here, you can actually locate it. Under packages, if you go down to extras, you can actually find something called Invade Other Kingdoms. Now you see here, you can actually achieve 14 kingdom portals, which is very unique and special, at a price of $31 AUD, which is Australian currency. For those in other countries, by all means, please convert it yourself because that conversion rate will be different in each country to country. Now you do receive about 72,000 gold and also extra materials and resources if you do get the package. I'm not totally in for it, but if KVK is something that you really enjoy, then it's actually not that bad to go into. Now in saying that too, there's also the secondary package that you can get, which is open portals, which gives you a mixture of regular portals and KVK portals, but you can see here, you're about 10 KVK portals short compared to Invade Other Kingdoms portals. If you do compete within KVK as well, you're gonna find that you're gonna be receiving more packages that do pop up from time to time, and I have mentioned in the game, that's a good time to purchase them because they usually go around $8. And this way, or $8 Australian that is, and this way you better get more KVK portals to be able to compete during that tournament because it is a good opportunity to gather a lot of Suva to be able to do group matches on other large players, and also a good way of earning more CP as a whole and for your members too if you choose to play it that way. Ultimately playing KVK, the whole purpose is to capturing flags. Now I know we actually swayed off topic a little bit, but KVK is a good opportunity to gain silver, and I see this happen a lot, so it had to be mentioned. So let's go back to our selection and our team, right? So it's very important that will you select the captains you choose to go into, extremely important, and how you ultimately end up getting more Suva for yourself. what you choose to do and how you approach it can differ depending how you want to play it out. Sometimes you can go in very strong, and sometimes that might be necessary because you might be going up against a very strong player. If you see that they have billions, even sometimes trillions of silver banked up, but they seem to be on the high ranking over a billion or more in might, you might not have no choice but to come in heavy with your heavy hitters. Because if you come in with small and just let it gather, you're gonna ultimately lose. Because one rule of thumb, guys, and you have to know this, very, very important. The one rule of thumb is that when you go to any capital, they will always hold more troops than they can carry. And especially as you get bigger, you'll be holding multiple amount of units, and they're just gonna be sitting there banked up, ready to fight, especially on the get-goes, and especially those who can collect silver and ready for COD and KVK and PvP-like type of matches and tournaments alike. They tend to have a lot of troops banked up, ready to fight on the get-go. So knowing this, guys, that you most likely, especially are targeting the heavier players, you need your heavy hitters to fight. But it doesn't mean you're gonna win. Not always, so be wary about that too, and who you're going up against. Sometimes it's just not worth the fight. So let's go back to our main troops again in our lineup. This is when I choose my heavy hitters, and my heavy hitters usually is tend to be Cleo, Beowulf, and followed by Skady. But sometimes I switch out Skady to use a different captain depending how I feel like. I tend to switch it out using Tengu, and why I use Tengu is because he increases speed, and if it increases my pace, then that actually makes it better for me. So I would tend to use him. If not using Tengu, then of course I would use one of my favorites, which happens to be Captain Storr. Because Captain Storr's ability, as you can already see here, he has high carrying capacity. And during my previous videos, like I mentioned before, it's a captain that's actually used a lot, especially for silver hunting, because if you can hold more weight, it means you can hold more silver and you can hold more loot. If you can hold more loot, you gain more silver, you gain more resources, right? That's the whole point of having him in the first place. Now, noting this well, when you're silver hunting, you need to have the ability to scope out your enemy, and it's very important to know what type of captains you should carry with that. Now remember, guys, I know you see Thedas right now as my main hero here, but just be wary, guys, especially if you're a silver hunter, guys, Eren is a must. If you do not have Eren, you just can't be a silver hunter. Because silver hunters are ones that collect silver in other kingdoms, not within your own kingdom. It's frowned upon, and really, you're going to be outlawed if you do that. So just remember, guys, if you're using Eren, this is really used for such things like KVK, earning points during COD, going with PvP, and of course, silver hunting as a whole. So that's what our guild's for if you want to use her, okay? And that is a requirement, especially when you're silver hunting. So going back to our crew here, in the art of silver hunting, it is very important that your captains, you need to also scout your enemy. So you'll be actually using the Captain Pro Scope when you are scouting because, let's face it, he's designed for that. Because if you read his stats here, he increases the scout's health and scout's strength. Followed by, you need to also equip a captain that would help him, which tends to be always Zi Ganyin, because she also has abilities, you can see here, increases the scout units, increases the range unit strength and scout strength, because you're trying to take every little advantage to give you more empowerment to perform better. And followed by that too, the last captain that you do need to have online will have either be a choice of either using Logos, because as we know, our Captain Logos, he actually increases specialist health and strength, so that's actually good to have him. But if you happen to decide to use Tengu instead, that's actually not a bad choice, because we already know, again, it's about speed. Because what's the point of traveling so far to a kingdom, ultimately being too slow to actually scout them out, and they end up, they're silver and you won't be able to collect it anyway. So you have to really think about your scouting crew. And just note again, when you do scout and you look at other kingdoms and other castles that are laying around the kingdoms itself, scouting is a giveaway that you're coming for them. So it does come down to that give or take. Are you scouting to find out more, or are you going to go outright for the attacking get-go? I would just say, even though they may run away, scouting is a necessity, because if you don't scout prior and discovering where the enemy has and what they have, then you're wasting your time. And frankly, if you're using your scouts, you'll be building your specialists at your top anyway. So you'll be looking at key units you'll be marching in with your specialists anyway, and they'll be your scouts, right? So you'll be going in with such things like your Swift Jaegers. If it's not your Swift Jaegers, then you're going to be coming in with you'll be walking with your Panoptics, because they're the next best unit, especially for your scouts. And those who are in the lower players, you'll be walking in with your you'll be going in with your standardized human scout specialists, your spies. You need to make sure that when you do walk in there, walk in with a high number, because let's face it, there's a chance that they may have their own scouts, and we know this too. If they have their own scouts, they'll duke it out, and you won't be able to achieve your goal of seeing what that enemy might be hiding behind that veil, right? All right, so let's go back into our captain selection again, because it's very important with your lineup of what you're carrying. I did say that scouting and strength is key. Being a lightweight and carrying very little and having the right troops, very important to run in and take exactly what you need. So after when you do finish your scouting, you might want to start looking into re-equipping your troops very differently. So Tengu is definitely a must now, and of course you have our grand hero, our girl Erin, to walk in there because she's our main hero to march to other kingdoms. But then you want to equip other captains as well, hasten your pace. So I would say you would be carrying in Thor, because again it's about carrying capacity, with Tengu, which is about speed, followed by having Cleo here, or you want to be using Skadi because she's upgrading guards. Now give me a moment and I'll explain you why. But before that, if you don't happen to be going into seasonal, and that's okay if you don't, then you should use Ada, because again, your original captain that you have at the start of the game increases guardsman's health and strength. Let me explain why this is important, and pay attention again to the captains that are aligned here. We've got Tengu, we have Storr, and we have either Ada, and if it's not Ada, it's going to be either Skadi or you're having Cleo, okay? Now the reason why guardsmen, I'm actually saying specifically if for that particular setup, is because if you look at this, and some of you may not be aware of this, is that if you look at our guardsman spearman level 1, and yes, our guardsman level spear 1, these guys are actually kind of unique. Their speed at 61 is quite good, with only a leadership of 1 needed. Their carrying capacity is 250%, and because of this, you can actually hold a large amount of spearmen and actually charge in. Checking out stats of your units are key. So let's take a look at something else, right? So let's go into our spearmen's tier 5, for example. If you look at here, you notice how the speed has decreased, it's down to 40, because there's going to be a higher unit. Yes, they're stronger. The carrying capacity hasn't changed, because 250 carrying capacity is still the same. But the speed is such a necessity. Look at the speed at 61, because you want to move in fast, because stealing silver is about pacing yourself and going quickly, getting in there, getting out as fast as possible. So what you find that after when you finish your scouting, you would then come in with a large amount of level 1 spearmen, and this happens a lot, charging in at a fast rate to about steal that silver right underneath their noses without them even realizing it. And you'll be banking out more silver because you have Storr on your team, you're going with a high capacity with speed, and their carrying capacity is not that bad. And that's what's shockingly, you can come in with about 100,000 of these guys and rob them blind. So that's why it's so good to go back to your spearman level 1. Going back to our alignment, back to our captains again, and reselecting one of our nifty scout increases, which is of course Pro Scout, because he's great for our scout units, increasing their health and strength. Sometimes it's not great to carry all your captains, and you want to carry as little as possible. So even if you decide to go in with just 2 captains instead, or even with just 1, it's not a bad idea, because the less you hold, the faster you move, the less time is necessary to scout them out, and the faster you can achieve your goal. But remember that if you do go in there, you want to carry the highest amount of scouts, hitting at a high capacity and doing well. This doesn't just mean by carrying but just 1 unit, but sometimes carrying multiple scouts is just as important. So what did I mean by that, and what you should be holding into? Well, let's look at this. If you can avoid it, what you want to do is not carry the lowest unit. You do not want to walk in with spies level 5. Now I know they're the strongest level for the spies at these levels, but ultimately they're very weak. They're not what you want to carry it. No, my friends, what you want to carry instead is that you want to try to get in straight away of bringing in the best unit as high as possible. So you want your Panoptics to go in there, tier 8 or tier 9 if you happen to have them available. And if you don't have them, then at least walk in by using your Jaegers, because Jaegers, you can get them at level tier 6 and tier 7, which is more easier to achieve. And they actually, Swift Jaegers are pretty good. So you can actually carry a mass load of them and send the dogs to sick them in, right? And if not doing that, what you can do too is go back, and this is very important, you want to go into looking at your mercs. You can't forget them because they're actually just as important. You can carry, they have their own scout unit too, and you cannot forget them, which is Grace, because she's great. So ultimately you'll be carrying your best units of your scouts that you can train by bringing also your mercs along too, which is Grace. so that way you'll be able to get a higher chance of scouting out your opponent, okay? And here's a very nifty trick that you guys might not be aware of, but always pay attention that when you do go to attacking castles, which ones you should target against. How do you know if they have any silver? Well, scouts is how you should approach it, but other little tips that you can use also, if they're carrying a lot of gold, then that means there's also a chance that that castle may contain a lot of silver. It doesn't mean that's going to be 100% for sure right that they are, but it's a good note to know that if they're carrying a lot of gold, they're a potential target of holding silver. So go after them, look for them, and try and chase after them. Another really important thing too, guys, is that when you're on the world map, when you look into other clans within that kingdom, you need to pay attention that if you look at any random clan, you should see what type. If they're wearing a lot of skins, that's also clear signs that they're actually playing this game more deep diving, and they also may have a good chance of holding silver too. But if you happen to look at another clan, and they all happen to be just the basic standard skin here, then there's also a chance that they're all low tier players and they have not much to hold. But it doesn't mean that they might be not holding any silver at all. No, my friends, sometimes some players hide their most silver in their main little unskinned castles, so be wary about it. But it's always good to chase after the ones that have skins on, that happen to be strong, and target them down, because they're more likely to be holding bank, and if they're holding bank, it means you're able to steal more silver for yourself. So again, guys, I'll keep this short and simple. Hopefully that's been helpful for you. If you share the same type of interests, you reach out to me, we can go on a Zoom call, we can call up with one another, and if you can leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below, because it always helps you grow even larger. I'll see you guys again in the next TBF episode. Bye now.